How else are they doing it? People say to me, nobody's taking my land away from you, Rosa. I don't know what you're talking about. My rural land, I'm out here, I got my well, I got my land, I'm really happy, I'm doing great out here. Hey, I live in a rural county. The county has 1,384 miles of county roads. They have just announced that they will only be paving 150 miles of those 1,384 miles of county roads in the future because they don't have any money. They're going to turn the rest of the roads to gravel. Think that's going to have an impact on your property value if you can't get to your property? And how about this? Well monitoring. Those smart meters, you're seeing them on gas and electric now, but they're going to be on your water and monitoring your well. You think you own that water underneath your land? No, you don't. That is the common good. You don't own that. That's for the common good. This is serious, very serious, because, there are federal funding system. The federal funding system favors more urban populated centers when they're giving out money, transportation money, for road management and maintenance. What does that tell you? That tells you wildlands is happening. Wildlands is happening now. Hey, I'll tell you what. People have said to me, oh, you're an alarmist. I'm sorry. I am not. The thing is, am I terrorizing you? No. This is the fact. This is real. This is true. Agenda 21 is a plan to produce social equity by impoverishing populations and creating total dependence on government. You want to see what austerity measures look like? Take a look at Greece and Spain. Did you know in Spain, when you lose your property in Spain, here, you lose your property, you walk away, you got a chance for another start. In Spain, you lose your property, you still owe. They sell it, they don't get the full loan amount, that debt follows you. You die, it follows your kid. Entailment. That's one of the reasons why this country got started, was to escape entailments, which are generational debts. Okay? This is part of it. This is a corporatocracy. That's what we're talking about. They're tightening the screws. Public-private corporatization of our public assets, privatization of our public services, loss of ownership on private lands, and corporate control of public lands. They are using the cover of environmentalism. Under the cover of environmentalism, a totalitarian state is in progress right now. And that is what's behind the green mask. That is it. It is abuse of trust. This is an abuse of our trust. The rhetoric is always good. If it didn't sound good, there wouldn't be so many people into it. There wouldn't be so many people thinking it was cool. Sustainable development, yeah. It's cool. I got my degree in sustainable green unemployment. I've got $100,000 in debt from my master's degree. And I'm not done yet, because I'm not going to get a job unless I have a PhD. And what am I studying? I'm studying how many bumps there are on the snail's nose that's in your backyard. Now, personally, I have my degree in Middle English. Hoffing that adequate, that you've been at home and you're clever me. Now that doesn't hurt anybody, right? I mean, I can, tell you how many angels can dance on the head of a pin in Chaucer. But when you get a bunch of people that are studying planning and getting degrees in planning and and can't even rub two nickels together, so they're living in the smart growth, they're living communally, they're being told that they're a cohort, that they have to think in terms of the greater good in everyone around them, and that it is selfish to be wanting something for yourself, and that, of course, you shouldn't be on a piece of land, and you should have a backyard, you should have a common garden. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. Never mind. Okay, so they hijacked the environmental movement, okay? Now, where does this go? It goes to the USA Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act. This is where it goes. Now, you aren't going far enough if you're only talking about land use, because Agenda 21 is about control. It's inventory and control of us. And this is what it's about. This is the end game. And you've got to know this because we are in the end game. And it is time to get up and speak out and say no and risk being shamed and embarrassed, because that is what a communitarian state does. They reject you, they shame you, they embarrass you, they name you, they label you, they hurt you in any way that they can. And if we don't do this together, if you stand by and let a neighbor take it, and you think I'm going to be okay, you are not going to be okay. You are not going to be okay. The National Defense Authorization Act, it designates the world as the battlefield. And it gives the government the right to detain and murder U.S. citizens in the homeland without charge or trial. I got some good news. May 16th, last Wednesday, a federal judge blocked the National Defense Authorization Act. Okay, you got a little reprieve there. Don't think somebody else is going to do it for you. It's not going to work like that. You can't let that happen. You can't wait until it's already done and say, okay, somebody saved me at the last second. It's not going to be somebody riding on a white horse coming to rescue you. That's not going to happen. We've got to do this. You've got community-oriented policing. That's local policing that labels who? Well, we'll just find out, won't we? Because when you go to a public meeting and you stand up and you speak out and you see that ringing the walls in that public meeting are men with guns. Because isn't that what they are, those cops? They're men with guns in there to chill your civil rights. What are they worried about? I've had a cop chase me down an aisle while I was holding the mic. I said, what are you afraid I'm going to say something? I mean, come on, huh? What am I, breaking a law here? I talked for 3 minutes instead of 2? You know, this is it. This is what you're looking at. You're looking at your civil rights going down the tubes. So you got fusion centers, you got code enforcement. You want to be a code enforcement ambassador? Just go to DeKalb County, Georgia. Yeah, they're deputizing. They're making you a code enforcement officer. Code enforcement is a way to take your property away. Now, I know there's people who've got all kinds of crap in their property and they should clean it up. But code enforcement is used as a tool to take property. It is used as a tool. It is vindictive. It is punitive. People are targeted. Oh, you're scared to say anything. They might come and put a red tag on your door. And you got to prove that that 100-year-old garage, that 300-year-old garage was built with a permit. Okay, you got your schooling, which is outcome-based education. It doesn't teach you anything. It trains you to be an obedient citizen. Obedience, obedience, obedience. That means you will not speak out. You will not raise your head. You will not. Well, what will you do? You'll be a good German. And do I mean Germany German? No, I mean you'll be a good American. You'll go along to get along. You won't speak out. You won't take that risk because you might be cut out of the herd and targeted. That's why we have to stay together. I don't care. We're not red blue gangs, are we, for crying out loud? You find people who can think clearly and intelligently about their rights as Americans. You're talking to liberals, you want to talk about Agenda 21, you're going to talk about corporatocracy, you're going to talk about school debt, you're going to talk about banks and corporations, mega corporations, owning all of your media outlets. That's why you're not hearing about this, by the way, and you know that. Some people have some guts and buy a newspaper. You've got, you don't have the money for a paper, you put out your own paper. You've got a Xerox machine, you got $10, you go over to your local copy company. Obedience. Citizenship. That's what it's about. Surveillance. The FBI surveillance. They're going through your trash. They don't tell you. It's against the law to even tell if you've been surveilled. And that's something else, for crying out loud. They don't need a warrant for your hotel records, your bank records, your internet records, your phone records. You on Facebook? Sucker. Okay, so let's see. Let's get down to it. Public-private partnerships. The ultimate is the fourth P, prisons. Public-private partnerships, prisons. What do prisons need? Prisoners. How do you get more prisoners? You make things grind. You make terms longer. Public-private partnership. Public-private partnership. Private prisons, for crying out loud. Where were we? Watching Happy Days or something? On Facebook or something? Trying to make $1 million the last... look at us. Look what happened to us. They pumped us and they dumped us. We were trying to make as much money as possible or watching our friends and neighbors get rich, and we were like, gee, how come I'm not getting rich? So you got into debt so you could feel rich. And then you lost it, and then you're scrambling. The economy has collapsed. It's like when you lose money, you don't just drop it on the floor. It's not disappeared. Somebody else gets it. It goes from one place to the other. We got pumped and dumped. That's what happened. This is a totalitarian state in progress. They all share, all totalitarian states, and I'm wrapping it up now, and I know it's hard to sit in these chairs because you're not thinking about that, because you're thinking about what all totalitarian states share in common. And we think it can't happen here. That's part of our problem, isn't it? We think it just can't happen here for some reason. What are we, like the anointed ones or something? Yes, it can happen here. This is how it happens. It looks like this. It's not going to look exactly the same as it's looked everywhere else or every time else. It looks like this. All totalitarian states share the same characteristics: total control of property and means of production, total information, surveillance, loss of free speech, restricted movement. You got that high-speed rail that doesn't exist, but you better get out of your car. And it's never going to snow or rain wherever you live, so you've got your bike. You don't need to carry anything on that thing because you've got no money. Okay, what else do they share? They share a philosophy in common, and that is that it's all for the common good, that the individual is selfish. Austerity. The American Planning Association refers to it as the new frugality. They're redefining progress. Yes, austerity, the Spartan present, and the vision of the glorious future. Oh, it's going to be so great. We're all going to be living these high-density transit villages and riding bikes and drinking coffee in the downstairs coffee shop. Nobody's going to work because there's no jobs, because we're not making anything. There goes the train. All right. What else? What else do totalitarian states share in common? Terror. Terror. The war on terror is a war on you. That's right. And you know it. This is what it looks like, where you don't know for sure if that smart meter is transmitting your conversation, where you're a little bit nervous about what's coming out about you on Facebook, where you're not quite sure whether that camera on your laptop is operating or not. Yeah,